Hey everyone, welcome back to Think Tank. We're up to episode 10 today. My name's Amie from I Think Property in Ipswich, and today we're talking about the importance of property styling and presentation. Let's get started.
Amie, how important is it that vendors present their home nicely?
So I always talk to my vendors about presenting their property really nicely because I think it hugely affects price and time on the market. So a big question I get is, what if we're selling a $200,000 property versus $1 million property? So I think regardless of the price of the home that you're selling, presenting it nicely will affect the eventual outcome. It's just the same as if you were selling a car, selling anything. Take the time to make it look nice, and that includes your photos, your write-up. If the property is vacant, think about styling. It doesn't always need to be styled, but just making sure that it's a nice experience for your buyers looking at it online, something that they can get emotionally invested into, or as an investor they're not just going to see a lot of work there for them to do. And then of course if they're coming through, just making it a really neat, tidy, clean experience for them as well. It 100% will affect the price if your property is not presented as best as it can be.
What are some benefits of property styling and staging?
Okay, so benefits of styling the property, a really big one, a question that I get a lot is, why would we style the property when we've got virtual styling available? Obviously virtual styling is a lot cheaper. We have access to some really well-priced styling out in our area. However, I think what I tell people is that if buyers are coming through the home, having furniture in there, it actually does make the space look bigger, which seems funny. You'd think if you had an empty room it would look bigger, but just displaying the furniture that can fit in there, give you an idea of how the room would work. It takes away people having to kind of create that, any concerns about how a space would work. You can just display it and make it really easy for them, so there's one less obstacle that buyers are having to work with. So another big one as well is if buyers are looking online and you've got, say, a fourth bedroom that's maybe it's not legal height, so you can't really call it a bedroom online, but you want to show that it is a bedroom, or you've got a second lounge space, your pictures with the styling can really explain that to the buyers. If they're not taking the time to read the write-up in full or something like that, your buyers will get a really clear idea of what the property has to offer by looking at the pictures that are styled appropriately.
When going to a listing presentation or an appraisal, how do you bring this up in conversation?
So a big one that I usually do is I just show my clients the level of presentation that I expect and that I aim for with all of my listings. So I've had lots of examples where that standard hasn't necessarily been met for them before. And just showing and giving them examples, so showing them other properties that have sat on the market for quite a while, haven't achieved a lot of inquiry or nowhere near the price that they're wanting with offers, and then just showing them some success stories about how we've taken the time, got some really nice photos, created a story, targeted emotional buyers, made the property look beautiful, and not only achieved the timely result but achieved better offers and essentially a better eventual price. So I think if you show clients real life examples.
How have you implemented staging and styling into your real estate practice?
So I implemented staging and styling into my practice quite a while ago, years ago now. I personally saw the outcomes that people were achieving, and I noticed a hole in the market. I think that people thought if their properties were worth 200, 250, 350 that they weren't expensive enough to stage. So I wanted people to understand that whatever the price of the property, it's always worth making it look as best as possible, because we can get $1,000, $5,000 or $10,000, anything more for the owner just because someone loves it. That makes a really big difference for our clients. So I noticed a hole there and created a styling business that was cost effective for our clients in that price range. So it started like that. I introduced it for my clients personally, and yeah, that's how it all began. Thank you so much for tuning in today, everyone. If you have any more questions about staging or styling, please feel free to reach out, comment below, or obviously message us or contact us privately. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for our next episode of Think Tank.